They were doing what they were supposed to do, but somebody said, we got to stop this. You see, we got folks, they want to steal for themselves. I ain't calling no names. Y'all lived here long enough. You know what I'm talking about. So Nehemiah had all these threats because now you got the folk, some of them same folk who wasn't even trying to build the wall, trying to stop the building of the wall because they trying to get paid. Well, what did Nehemiah do about this? See, when you have a threat, you have to respond. So you just can't sit there and know there's a threat sitting out there and don't do nothing with it. You got to respond to it. And let's look at what Nehemiah did. Verse 6 of the 5th chapter. Y'all go with me now. We're going to walk around this text. And I became very angry when I heard their outcry and these words. Verse 7. After serious thought, I rebuked the nobles and the rulers and said to them, each of you is exacting usury from his brother. So I called a great assembly against them. Verse 8, and I said to them, according to our ability, we have redeemed our Jewish brethren who were sold to the nations. Now indeed, will you even sell your own brethren? Or should they be sold to us? Then they were silenced, and they found nothing to say. See, leadership has to respond when a situation comes up. And first of all, Nehemiah was indignant. And you know something? When somebody's in position of leadership, when somebody's in position of authority, and they're exploiting that position, somebody ought to get mad. It bothers me that we expect politicians to steal. And you know what bothers me even more? We vote them rascals back in. Let me leave that alone. See, Nehemiah got angry, but then after thought. You see, you don't get angry and go out and do something stupid. You need to think about your response. And his response was to stand folk in their face and say, you are wrong. You got to hold folk accountable. See, leaders hold people accountable. If you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, I just can't sit back and say, well, they said they're going to do it, but I ain't going to say nothing. No, they ain't holding you accountable. If you told me you're going to be here 12 o'clock and 12:30, you ain't rolled up, and then at 1 o'clock I called you, oh, I forgot. Now, wait a minute, you knew we were counting on you. We want to be friends. We don't want to get nobody to get mad, but we got to hold each other accountable. We can't afford the luxury of letting folk take advantage of other folk and not say anything about it. When he confronted them and said, you know what you're doing is wrong, they had no choice but to change course. Yeah, we were wrong. We'll straighten it up. If we don't hold each other accountable, don't you understand that if your lack of response, some folks interpret as acceptance? When we started on this journey with the building fund, folks said, why we need to start a building fund? And we told you what we're going to do. We're putting this money in CDs. It won't be touched until we start pushing dirt around. And we've been true to our word. We did that for accountability. Because you know how our folks go. Somebody be saying, man, yeah, I see the report, be on paper, but where the money at? It's at the bank. In a certificate of deposit. Well, we could be getting more money if we did. Yeah, we probably could, but at least you know where your money at. It's there. We're being transparent because we want you to hold us accountable. When they were confronted with this thing, and Nehemiah said, you need to give these folks their money back. You need to give them their grain back. You need to give them their oil back. And they said, okay, yeah, well, okay, we will. Then he said, okay, now let's call the priest, and you're going to take an oath. We're going to have some witnesses here between man and God that you said you're going to do what you're going to do. But see, if it stopped right there, we could say, oh yeah, that's well and fine. But Nehemiah didn't stop there. And see, and please understand, as I wrestle with this, I don't want to sound self-serving. But leaders are supposed to rise to the occasion. Amen. Leaders have to step up. See, when Nehemiah was appointed governor over Israel, over Jerusalem, and he was there for a 12-year term, under the law, the way the king has set it up, when he allowed the captives to go back, he sent money back with them. When they rebuilt the temple, them same folk who was on the outside looking in got to complaining, and the king said, now since y'all complaining, that tax money you were sending to me, you send it to them so they can finish building what they're building. Now Nehemiah shows up on the scene. He's charged with restoring the walls, securing this city, and getting them back on an even keel. Now the governor received a special tax that the people lifted to pay the governor. So they were paying the king and they were paying the governor. Now Nehemiah stepped up in this time of famine and said, wait a minute, hold it. Y'all going to give your money back, and that which you collect for me, keep it. Wait a minute. You mean to tell me Nehemiah knew that if he could stand there and talk is cheap? Oh, we ought to do this, we ought to do that. But you know how we get. And I believe that they were people of color. And they probably said, yeah, what you going to do?